Brian Murphy, welcome to the OMF website, or should we use your fight name? The Headhunter.
The Headhunter. Oh, I think the Headhunter's retired. The Murph. Murph now.
Tell us about the career.
The career, it started probably about 15 years ago now. Started off and used to work down a local youth club and went down there watching them train, and then thought I could do this and jump in there. And
this is boxing?
No, kickboxing.
Oh, kickboxing.
Started off first, yeah. And I went in there and trained for 2 weeks, and then thought, they asked me if I wanted to have a fight, and I was on one of Joey Hilton's show, and I said yes, I'd do it, and copped a bit of a touch up in that show.
Who were you competing with then?
I wouldn't even know who the guy was at that stage.
Who was training you?
Shane Tideman originally was training me, trained then. And then, so I had that, and then I thought, okay, we'll have another one. And then I had another one about a week or two later, which was down the Gold Coast on the show. And then, had a good win, and I think it was by a knockout with a head kick, that one. And then after that, started from there. And
Headhunter.
Yes, and that's where the Headhunter evolved. And then I had a few good head kick knockouts in the next few fights after that, and then developed and moved on. And and then after that I sort of got to the stage, I won quite a few amateur titles and moved on and sort of made a name for myself, and then moved with Nugget, moved over to him, and then started more into the Thai boxing, and then sort of kept running through, fighting all the time. Won a few WMC Australian titles.
I saw you have a good bout with Vincey Parks.
Yes, Vince, we had a couple actually. I think Vince won the first one, I think, which was a kickboxing one, and then I won the next one that we fought after that, which was a Thai boxing one. Down at the PCYC, I think it was for an Australian title. So we were one apiece on those ones.
And it wasn't around the 90 kilo mark.
No. Around the 72.
72.
72 to 76.
Only a smidgen over that today. You've done well.
Well, that's it. Yeah, just a little bit over that. But no, it's all good. It's all good.
Now, what were you doing with your boxing? I know you did some boxing.
Basically, once I stopped fighting, sort of started to slow down in the Thai boxing a bit. I actually joined the construction industry. I actually was offered a job through some people that through Kenny Hayward actually, and who was a politician.
Yeah, I remember Kenny.
They had had started up Gleason's boxing gym that was run with Noel Thornbury and Ricky Thornbury. And Mark Hickey used to own a labour hire company, so they and I knew Mark Hickey for a long time. And they said, would you like to come down and do some boxing and that with us? So then, once I went down there, then I sort of started working in the construction industry, and then I started sparring with Ricky, sort of become one of Ricky's main sparring partners and training with Noel. And then used to just fight once a month for them under the boxing, and then I sort of, people sort of realised I had a bit of a granite chin and put on a good show, and then they used to use me to fight all the good guys and jump in and do it. So I actually ended up fighting Ricky too. After I think Ricky was probably about the second. I think it was the second. The first boxing fight I ever had, I was actually sitting in the crowd, and the main fight pulled out, and that was against a guy. He was the Australian champion at that stage, a little dark fella, Tabiai or something. I forget his name was. And then they asked me if I'd jump in because the main fight pulled out, so I had to go and get blood tests and everything done, and I ended up going the distance with the old mate. It was a good hard fight. And then I think the next fight after that was with Ricky Thornbury, and then that's basically when I went down and started training at the boxing gym. They asked me to come down and went from there. So.
And how did you go with the transition with the footwork?
It wasn't that hard, but it's two totally different sort of fields where you're doing it. I didn't find that much of a difference. Probably fighting in close was a little bit harder to what normally is, so you just wrap them up and want to clinch them with it all. But I'd be known to let a few elbows go in close, and that if we got in those situations, that I sort of got known for doing that, so people would expect it. But no, it was good. Like I said, I really didn't train real hard for those boxing fights because I'd put on my weight then too. So I was sort of moved up into the sort of 80s, 90s and, 100 kilo mark.
Now, in terms of the people, the Thai boxers you had to run around with, who would be the toughest bloke?
I suppose, look, we've looked at it. I've fought a lot of basically everyone who's anyone. But I'd probably say, probably go back on the likes of maybe even Vince Parks or Stephen Roston was one of the other ones. Steve Roston was a very tough, durable guy. No, I could get on and say the guys like Ian Jacobs and Ravi Noy and these other, world champions that I fought, but you sort of expect them to be hard fights.
Yeah.
And, things with Vince, I still remember, Vince's leg kicks, how sharp and hard they were. And also Josh Saxton had actually fought Vince Parks too, and it was the same thing that you sort of didn't expect. But Vince was, he was a tough boy. He'd come through, he had really sharp leg kicks, and he was there to fight. And then you had Steve Roston that, he would just never stop them at how hard you sort of beat on him. He'd sort of keep coming too. So there's plenty around. I mean, I had 88 fights, pro fights out of it all now. So. To go through and have a look at them all, but look, for a couple of good Queensland lads that were worth rating, I'd say those two boys.
I should give Vincey a plug. He's always there with us. He's up in Cooktown looking after the community, but he's producing good athletes. But he's a real Trojan when it comes to being part of the Australian amateur Muay Thai scene. So good luck, Vincey. We'll be up there soon in a little while, mate. So you better get the Barramundi fishing rods out. Now, Anthony, I better talk to you about refereeing and judging. Mm-hmm. When did that all happen?
Probably now. Well, once I sort of stopped fighting, got out of the boxing, I then just started off through the refereeing, which is probably about 10 years ago now. And I guess that just evolved in that sort of when, all fighters leave, that's your sport, your passion, you leave it, and you always think you want to come back in and have that comeback and you want to do it, and the reality is there's not too many people that actually can leave and come back and actually do anything really, that do still be competitive in what they do to the same level. So I guess for me to go into the refereeing and the judging was sort of something that kept me involved with the sport.
Best seat in the house.
Well, it is. It's the best seat in the house. That's exactly right. And you don't have to pay to get in any shows, so it's good. But that sort of just sort of went along from there. And I think the difference with the refereeing with me, I mean, I've been asked that style before. What is my style of refereeing? And I suppose what would separate me from any other referee. And I think the biggest thing that sort of comes down to it is, people can understand rules, people can, interpret rules. It's like anything. People will look at things in a different way. They'll look at what's scoring. Some people like more aggressive people. Some people like someone that's more a technical fighter, depending on the person's sort of view or what sort of person they are. But I think where the biggest thing that comes down to refereeing now is actually being able to read and interpret the fight. Yeah. I don't believe that a referee would referee every fight exactly the same, because there's different people that actually in every fight, and every fight is different. And I think that the big thing is getting to be able to understand where a fighter is. Is a fighter really hurt, or is a fighter knowing that he's got a lot of heart and he is tough, that he might be hurt now a little bit, but he can still continue on, and be able to know that sometimes whether you let the fight go a little bit long, there might be a couple of techniques that might be used that aren't, that you think, well, that's not to the rule book exactly, but if the fight's going that way, I mean, no different. I guess you look at the big referees in the NRL when it comes to playing state of origin, they might let a little bit more go. But that's it. I enjoy the referee now. I'm probably more popular now as the
more popular referee than fighter.
As the fighter, and I was a pretty well-known fighter, but now
what about the girls? The girls like the fighters, or the referees the best?
Yeah, well, that's we'll leave that one alone.
Well, listen, Murphy, I know well. I'm glad to make these jokes.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Right. But no, like I said, I enjoy the refereeing now, and keeps me involved in the sport. And
now that's a good lesson for you, Tony Hill, and for a few of you other boys.
Yes.
You promised me you're going going to do it, you better get off your little backsides and come and make the first time you do it will be the second time very much quicker thereafter. I know, for example, even Mr. Pixie Burton, he's already indicated that the moment he finishes being an athlete, he's very keen to become a referee and a judge for us. So we want that whole transition thing, so it's very good. Mr. Murphy?
All right.